Oh man.
Oh, yes.
Good question. Can you come back later?
Actually,
Oh my god.
wow. No answer for that one. Too long?
I think 14 years now.
20 years.
20 years. On and off, 16 years.
Just over a year.
About 6 years.
20 years.
Oh, I've been doing RC since I was back in Ireland. Oh, many years ago.
Since probably 2010. Probably 10, 11 years of RC. 99% of the time is electric. So nitro's a bit of a fiddle every here and there.
About 3 or 4 years.
2.5 years.
40 years.
13 years.
6 years. I don't. This isn't very quick, is it? Since I was 14, and I don't really want to figure out how long that is.
About 25 years.
47 years.
Maybe 10 years, I think, all up. they show my age. Probably 10 years, mate. 10, 11 years now. About 30 years.
Too long. 20 plus years.
A couple of years since 2012.
Since I was like 12, but then with a 10-year break.
Since I was about 7 years old, Rick. About 7 years old.
Yep. A year and a half now.
Oh, too long. 30 plus years.
Can't remember. 28 years.
15 years.
20 years.
5 years.
At least 20 years. Probably longer, but I won't give any more than that away. My first nationals was like 98 that I won. And yeah, so a few years.
Friend of my wife. Splitty Miller.
Through a mate.
Mate of mine got into it. Through a mate that was racing it down at the Harvey Norman early days with PDNR. A friend of mine.
Just come up one day and loved it.
I hurt myself and came down and saw Tony at Penrith, and he talked me into doing it and helped me out a bit, and that's how I got started.
I had a bad habit, so I needed something to take my mind off it.
I seen the local race in my hometown and sort of got hooked on it from them.
I think from my dad. Dad bought a car for Christmas, a TCO one, little to me car. That lasted me 2 club nights, and then started to get serious about it after that ever since.
I got into it. I got injured. I'm a surfer. Got injured and had to do something because I was inactive for about 3 months, and yeah, picked up a GT and never looked back.
One night, my mom saw a thing on Facebook for PDNR, and we went to the track and we saw how it was.
Through my dad and my uncle.
My wife bought me a cheap off-road buggy.
My dad used to race RC cars.
Just through mates, and always loved radio controlled stuff, be it cars, boats, planes, submarines.
Oh, just a little kid playing with RC cars, and yeah, going from little toys to these proper model scales, and yeah, never looked back.
My dad used to race full-size cars and used to fly model planes on Tuesdays. So in the holidays, I'd go up to Ludlam and run a car.
Just with mates at Castle Hill years ago when we were like 14. Started off, just, I've always wanted as a kid. Everyone, typical story, Hornet, electric car, you know what I mean, have one of those. And then I've always wanted to get into nitro, but obviously, you know, they were too expensive back in those days, back in the 80s, whatever it was. So, obviously waited later in life, job and everything. Found a hobby store, went in there and saw my first nitro car. It was an XR8, one of the Joe Pertain special cars they used to bring in. Bought that here with the late Harry Papadopoulos. He brought me one time. Got a feel of it. Then I went to PDNR. My first ever race with a PDNR, and that was when Kevin was running the show, and it was like the most welcoming night of ever. a guy totally racing A-scale for the first time ever, and we all know how fast these things are. The belief is to what to do with it, and just basically just fell in love with it, and then fell in love with the crew and everyone, and niceness, and watched everybody just open arms, you know what I mean? And I really loved it. I thought, you know what, I like this. This is a really good hobby, and I really want to stay in it, and I have for over 10 years now. And can't remember here, still race at PDNR, Winter Champs, one of my favourites. Grabbed a few podiums there, yes. But yeah, and still going.
Well, me and Bardetto were at college together, and I was reading a Dirt and Track magazine and something, and he said, "Oh, do you like RC?" I said, "Yeah," because I had a Tamiya Super Champ and a Hot Shot Super Shot, so I was into RC from way back in the early 80s. So.
I was looking at a magazine at my old job, and I seen a V8 supercar body, which was an RC car, and I got that gave me some interest, and I got into it from there.
I want to race go-karts, but Mum and Dad wouldn't let us because it's too dangerous and too expensive.
I think we just originally had bought some fairly cheap electric cars just from a local hobby store, and then we just fell in love with it because we went up to a RC track in Adelaide and saw how quick some other RC cars could go, and we said we've got to have one of them.
My dad.
Like all kids with the fathers when they was about 12.
It was all Snowy's fault. Seen a guy across the road driving up and down the street. Next door neighbour.
Through a mate.
Walked into hobby shop. Ray Wood was there. Saw me walked in, put a video on of Magic Kingdom. I stood there watching cars going around really fast, and I was in my crutches with 2D reconstructions and ended up buying a little race car, and that was it. Stopped playing soccer and started racing cars.
My first car was a Kyosho Alpha 210 EP. Wild Willie. My first car was a Hyper 7.
TC3, Mojo TC3.
V1, Kyosho V1.
An HPI RS42 wheel drive.
Serpent SRX8. A Kyosho R4.
HPI RS4. Serpent 6000.
First car, Tamiya TT01.
First car, I was a little kid. I had a little Tamiya 114 quick drive, 8 AA battery car, and then the next car I got was a second-hand GT.
Haveo HyperX.
8-scale off-road buggy.
Off-road buggy, and then I went to a Kyosho V1 S3.
That's Tamiya buggy.
It was a Wild Willie.
First proper one was a Tamiya Hornet. That was my first proper RC car.
Kyosho dune buggy that we modified to run on a track.
I'm a Tamiya.
My first was a Hornet, was the electric car Hornet, but my first nitro car, very first nitro car, was the Kyosho, the on-road, off-road slash car, what they're all racing now. I forgot what they call it. It was the Subaru body.
Well, it was a Tamiya Super Champ. I've still got an original one, actually.
Handy Electronics Bigfoot.
That was a Great Viger, a shaft-driven one.
8-scale two-wheel drive BMT.
I think it was a Tamiya electric car, and I had the first IC gas car was a PB Apollo.
Shepherd.
A Tamtec.
Bowlink Eliminators. Well, that was my first racing car. It was a Bowlink Eliminator Sport, but I did have a Hot Shot and a Formula One Lotus back in the day when I was a kid, but not racing. Tamiya Fighter Buggy.
Tamiya TAO2.
Kyosho RB6 buggy.
That was TRC Lynx was the second one. The first one, I can't even remember, maybe an Associated. It was an old pan car, two-wheel drive electric. And we were doing like NASCARs and circuit cars in Magic Kingdom.
For the clutch top.
Oh.
Tweet wheels, I would say.
Verniers. Tile balancer, there you go.
The pointed clutch. Probably the wheel nut tool. Make sure the wheels are still on. I like the clutch tools that I've got. I set the clutch up every time. I know what I'm getting and the measurements are always right. Probably the old gauges, beauty gauges. Tool or gadget? Well, there's been something here.
Oh, that would have to be a battery drill.
Have to car. I don't know if I have some of my electric tools out or not, but
To be honest, these MIP tools are pretty cool, and I quite like the ball end hex drivers. I don't know, I've never seen one before until I got into RC, and yeah, they're awesome.
for Nitro, the caster clip tool, because I use that for everything.
The controller.
My lathe.
I think this would probably be, today, this would be definitely the right gadget.
This little tool made by Tony Firth and Chris Stanley. Wheel spanner.
My favourite tool or gadget, I would have to say, probably the Dremel. I like the Dremel. You can really do some good stuff with that. So, yeah.
I don't know. Probably the glow plug wrench.
Favourite tool? Probably the gripper for the clutch.
My favourite tool or gadget? Oh, that's tough. That's a tough one.
Setup station, I guess.
Tool or gadget?
Would you believe this? Pick thing? Yeah. Believe it or not, yeah. I think I got it back when I used to work on laptop computers. Yeah, so I don't know why, it's a good tool.
Oh, you've got me. I don't know. They're all so good. I'm gonna say the car. I love the car. Okay, I love the car. That's it. I just love RC.
Probably the RC Maker wheel arch tool.
Oh, probably the 2mm driver because I'm always using it.
Favourite tool or gadget? Yeah, what's your favourite tool or gadget? Probably this. It's a really gadget, but his allows my dad and Dan to put my car on the starter box even when they have no idea what they're doing. So it's brilliant.
Probably the clutch gauges. I think we've put them away though. Now, have we, Rick?
Yeah.
Clutch gauges which do the digital read of the spring tension and gap of the clutch. Yeah. So.
Starter box, I guess.
The Hattie setup gauge jig. It's awesome.
I love the clutch tools.
My new IMRC blower. Perfect, cleaning your bodies, blowing down your pit bench, absolute weapon.
The headset. My favourite tool. I've been saving through COVID for these. Too scared to use them. I'm too scared that I'll drop them and scratch them. So they just pretty much sit here and look pretty.
Oh shit. Probably the Reamer.